A long, long time ago, in a beautiful land filled with sunshine and green valleys, lived a family. In this family, there were two brothers. They were twins, which means they were born on the same day. But even though they were twins, they were as different as day and night. Let's meet them. The first brother was named Esau. He was a man of the field, a skillful hunter who loved the thrill of the chase. He was strong and covered in hair, and he knew how to track animals and find food with his bow and arrow. The other brother was Jacob. Jacob was a quiet and thoughtful boy who preferred to stay near the tents. He was gentle and spent his days taking care of the family's sheep, making sure they were safe and had plenty of grass to eat. Esau and Jacob were the sons of Isaac and Rebekah. Their father, Isaac, loved Esau very much. He admired his son's strength and skill as a hunter. When Esau came home, he would bring delicious wild game for the family to eat, and this made Isaac very proud. But their mother, Rebekah, loved Jacob the most. She appreciated his calm and peaceful nature. Jacob would often stay close to home, helping her around the tents, and she enjoyed his quiet company. So, we have two very different brothers. One who loved adventure and the outdoors, and one who loved the peace and quiet of home. What do you think it was like for them growing up together? Being so different can sometimes be tricky, and for Esau and Jacob, their differences would soon lead to a very important day that would change their lives forever. For the first 15 years of their lives, Jacob and Esau had a very special person in their family camp. Their grandfather, Abraham. Can you imagine that? Abraham was the man who God called his friend. He had seen amazing things and had learned so much about Jehovah God. We can just picture young Jacob sitting at his grandfather's feet, his eyes wide, listening to every word. Abraham would tell him stories about leaving a big city to follow God's direction, about angels visiting him, and about the incredible promise God made to his family, that they would become a great nation and be a blessing to everyone on earth. Jacob loved these stories. They helped him understand how important it was to love and obey Jehovah. Esau, on the other hand, was often restless. He preferred the excitement of the hunt to the quiet moments of storytelling. But for Jacob, these conversations with his grandfather were precious gifts. When Abraham finally passed away at the very old age of 175, Jacob carried those stories and lessons in his heart forever. Many years went by. When Esau was 40 years old, he decided to get married. But he didn't choose a wife from his own relatives who worshipped Jehovah as his father had done. Instead, he married two women from the land of Canaan. Now, this wasn't just about them being from a different place. The people of Canaan didn't love or obey Jehovah God. They had different customs and worshipped other things. This decision made Isaac and Rebekah very, very sad. It was a deep sadness, like a constant ache in their hearts. They had hoped Esau would choose a wife who shared their family's faith, someone who would help continue the special relationship their family had with God. But Esau's choice brought strangers with different beliefs right into their home, causing worry and grief for his parents. It was a clear sign that Esau didn't value the special promises of God in the same way his parents and his brother did. Then, one day, an event unfolded that would change the family forever. Isaac was now very old, and his eyes had grown so dim that he could no longer see. He knew the time was near for him to pass on the special family blessing. This wasn't just a simple, "I wish you well." In those days, a father's blessing was a powerful God-guided declaration that would shape his son's entire future. It was the most important inheritance a son could receive. Naturally, Esau, as the firstborn, expected to receive this blessing. But do you remember what happened years before? Esau had sold his right as the firstborn, his birthright, to Jacob for a simple bowl of stew. He had treated this sacred privilege as if it were worthless. On top of that, even before the boys were born, God himself had told their mother, Rebekah, that the older would serve the younger, meaning Jacob was the one chosen to receive the blessing. So, guided by his mother, Jacob went to his father. And just as God had intended, Isaac, believing he was speaking to Esau, gave the powerful, once-in-a-lifetime blessing to his son Jacob. When Esau finally returned from the field and learned that the blessing had been given to Jacob, a storm of fury erupted inside him. He let out a loud and bitter cry. But he wasn't just sad. He was filled with a deep, dangerous anger toward his brother. He had willingly sold his birthright, but now he blamed Jacob for the consequences. His anger was so intense that he started saying to himself and others, "The days of mourning for my father are near, then I will kill my brother Jacob." He was planning to do something terrible. When Rebekah heard these frightening words, her heart filled with dread. She was a mother who loved both her sons, and the thought of one harming the other was unbearable. She knew she had to act quickly to protect Jacob. So she rushed to her husband, Isaac, with a plan. She said to him, "I am disgusted with my life because of these Canaanite women. If Jacob also takes a wife from the women of this land, what good is my life to me?" She was not only expressing her deep unhappiness, but also giving Isaac a very good reason to send Jacob far, far away to safety. After many, many days of walking under the hot sun, Jacob was tired and thirsty. His long journey had finally brought him to the land of his mother's family. And what do you think he saw? A well. A well is a deep hole in the ground where people can get fresh water. Finding one was a wonderful sight after traveling so far. It was a place where people and their animals could rest and get a cool drink. Near the well, a group of shepherds were waiting with their flocks of sheep. Shepherds are people who take care of sheep. Jacob walked over to them and said hello. He asked them, "My friends, where are you from?" They replied with a smile, "We are from Haran." Jacob's heart must have leaped with joy. This was the exact town he was looking for. He then asked if they knew a man named Laban, his uncle. "Yes, we know him," the shepherds said. "He is doing well. And look, here comes his daughter, Rachel, with her father's sheep." In the distance, Jacob could see a young woman guiding her flock toward the well. This was his cousin, Rachel. A very large, heavy stone covered the mouth of the well. When Rachel arrived with her thirsty sheep, Jacob did something amazing. He went right up to the well and all by himself rolled the huge stone away. It was an act of great strength and kindness. After the sheep had finished drinking, he introduced himself to Rachel, explaining that he was her cousin. Rachel was so surprised and happy. She ran all the way home to tell her father Laban the exciting news. Laban hurried out to meet Jacob, gave him a big hug, and welcomed him into his home. He was so glad to have his sister's son come to visit. Jacob stayed with Laban and worked for him. He had fallen in love with Rachel and wanted to marry her. So, he made an agreement with Laban. He would work as a shepherd for 7 whole years, and in return, he could marry Rachel. The years passed quickly because his love for her was so strong. But when the wedding day came, Laban tricked Jacob. He brought his older daughter Leah to be married instead. Jacob was very upset, but he still loved Rachel. So he agreed to work for Laban for 7 more years. After the first week of marriage to Leah, Laban allowed Jacob to marry Rachel too. In those ancient times, God sometimes allowed a man to have more than one wife, but the Bible now teaches that God's best plan is for one husband and one wife. You can read this part of Jacob's story in Genesis chapter 29.